giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Boston Scientific. We're streaming live on YouTube. We on Facebook. And, of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are in the dog days. They have finally arrived, but don't you fret, I got you covered. Today, we're going to jump back into the state of the unit, talk about a position near and dear to my heart here. We're talking safeties, man, and why I think this room is all elite. Why I think this room is one of the best in the National Football League, and why I think this room could be kind of the catalyst to making this defense go to the next level. Now, we understand the interior of the defense is what's going to help take this defense to another level. But if this unit can stay healthy and stay together, boy, Dallas' defense is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Yes, indeed, Oscar. It is Father's Day weekend coming up. Shouts out to all the fathers out there. We'll get to that a little bit later this week. But what's good? Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
Hey, Rolo, don't come in here with that nonsense, Rolo. Don't come here with that nonsense. We're going to see if he can make that transition, if he does indeed make that transition. But lots to discuss today for this room. We're going to discuss it from top to bottom. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. This is a room that did not see much change, believe it or not, from the draft or undrafted free agents. It's very, very similar to what it was last season. So we got a lot to look into in regards to camp from last year, preseason, and obviously the regular season. So we'll touch on all of that coming out of the roundup. In the roundup, we got a little bit more personnel moves being made, and we'll discuss what the domino effect is to that. Not a big one, but there is obviously a domino effect that comes with it, Cowboys Nation. So, maybe if we get Tyrone to call in, Tom, we can get some names like that. He bringing up Pat Watkins, Jeff Heath, obviously remember Jeff Heath, Keith Davis, Courtney Brown, Pepper Ridge Farm, McClay, Church, McCray, I'm sorry, Danny McCray, Barry Church. He's bringing up some old names safety-wise in the last decade or so for the Cowboys. Yeah, good names, man. Good callbacks there. And I would have loved to get my guy Barry Church on here to discuss safeties with y'all. Barry mad busy right now, but I'm going to try to get Barry on here before the offseason is done. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to get him up on here and talk to him. We've had him on the show many a times. Friend of the show. Would love to get his side of this safety room and see if this is the best safety room he's had or he's seen in Dallas since his days in Dallas. Would love that. But with that said, y'all, let's jump straight into this. Should be a very easy show today. If you want to call in, you can. 351-999-3787. We're going to roll through these safeties, and then we'll talk to you guys on the phone, or maybe we'll mix it in. We'll see what happens here. All right, let's get to it.
It's time! It's time! It's
What's my
time!
safe word today?
Time!
What's my safe word?
Time.
It's time.
Time?
It is time for
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. What's good, Jose? Tom, that's not the safe word to take.
Man, who gives a shit?
That's not the one I wanted.
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.
Not a whole lot of news that's going to be coming out of Cowboys land over the next few weeks. So this is kind of probably the last bit of news that will come out. And then we'll likely do some feature articles for the morning roundup. But was it over the weekend or was it Friday when this happened? Y'all can let me know. The Cowboys ended up cutting Takk McKinley from the team after signing Ben Binogu. Likely the reason why they cut Tack was to make room for Ben Binogu in the defensive end room. Now, they got room technically on the team because they have 88 roster spots filled. They have 2 left open to fill in the next 6 weeks. So probably one of those spots will be a kicker. We'll see what the other spot will be heading into training camp. But Tack McKinley, you know, Cowboys signed him midway through the season last year. Dan Quinn drafted Tack. He played a few seasons with Dan Quinn. And then he kind of went around. He was with the Browns, he was with the Rams, and finally came here in Dallas. I don't know why, you know, it didn't work out here. It could just be the same reasons why it didn't work out everywhere else. It's just not good enough anymore. And, you know, unfortunately for Tack, you know, he's back on the street. But this is not really going to move the needle from a roster standpoint. This is more so going to move the needle, from a top of the roster, 53-man roster type standpoint. But it's going to move the needle down roster type. Again, it opens up a spot. They had 89. They now have 88. I'd imagine they already have one spot ready for a kicker. But what that other position could be, I'm not sure yet. Not quite sure yet. I feel like they're pretty full defensively now, possibly a linebacker maybe. I don't think they're bringing any more edges. I don't know that they're bringing any more defensive tackles. Maybe they could look towards the offensive line, maybe some interior depth. Running back, maybe they'll look to maybe add another running back, receiver, but I don't really see defensively any more room for players. Now, it's a 90-man roster. They could add anybody, and it might not matter. It could be a body for camp, but I don't think you're cutting Tack McKinley for Ben Binogu if you don't think that Ben could push somebody. Not saying anything that about the guy making the team, but he could possibly push some guys and make the coaches think here. And if he doesn't make it, possibly be on the special team. So I'm sorry, possibly be on the practice squad. So that's really the only news to come out of Cowboy land, Cowboys Nation, is Tack McKinley cut, gone. Wish him the best of luck moving forward, but that defensive end room is loaded. And honestly, I was going to talk about the DEs today, but I had already got it in my head and started putting things together about the safeties. So we're going to focus on the safeties. We'll do defensive ends likely later this week. But I think the Cowboys, talk about the safety room being deep. That room's deep too. But today is all about the safeties, man. And when I started this project to put it together for you guys, I already knew the room was good. I already knew the room was deep. But it's deeper than I'd even imagine when you look at the guys they have on the way back end. Now, I'm not familiar with everybody's seventh safety. I'm not going to lie. But the potential in a lot of these guys. And then when you mix the veteran leadership that is already there that they can learn from, where these young guys don't have to be thrown into the fire. They can kind of get their feet wet. And then by year 3 for some of these dudes, they might have that opportunity to be a core part of this team. They could be ready. It's very old school like, where these young guys now are being thrown to the fire. Where back in the day, some of these dudes kind of took some time, and then eventually, boom, they got on the scene and they became what they became. So I'm really excited about this position group, and I wanted to talk to y'all about it today. Damn, I remember Abram Miller and Alan Ball. Woo! Oh, George Iloka. Iloka was my guy. He actually was one of the first current/not current player interviews I did, where he was kind of giving us some insight on what was going on down there under Chris Richard. And then one of our clips eventually went viral in the late night hype with him. So I fooled with George Iloka. Nothing bad to say about the guy. Didn't even get a shot to really play on the team. Nonetheless, let's talk about this safety team, this safety unit. Let's talk about the backups first. And we're going to start at the bottom here with Wanye and Tyler Coyle. Wanye Thomas, 6'3", 217-pound undrafted free agent from last year. Remember that, y'all. He was signed last year. He was signed to a futures reserve contract after the season ended in San Francisco. Practice squad all of 2022. I guess he did enough there to get invited back this offseason. Now, when it comes to a guy like Wanye Thomas, he has that size that Dan Quinn covets. This DB room covets. They like these big safeties, man. 6'3", goes 210 pounds plus. You're talking about him at 6'3". You're talking about Izzy at 6'4". Jayron at 6'4", Marquis Bell at 6'3". This is an all basketball type of team out there. Dan Quinn loves the length on defense, and that really trickles down from the front to the back if you really look at how the roster is put together. But boy, these safeties are. I'd imagine these safeties, if you averaged it out, hell, Tyler Coyle's 6'2". If you averaged it out, I would say this might be the lengthiest safety room in the NFL. I'm obviously guessing, but I'd imagine if you average it out, the Cowboys have one of the longest safety rooms in the league. Tyler Coyle, another guy that was signed to a future/reserve contract. We should be familiar with Tyler Coyle. 2021, he was an undrafted free agent, and he got a little tick at the end of the last year and also at the end of his rookie year. Problem with Tyler, he came in week 18, played against the Commanders, but he sprained his MCL. However, he did play enough. In that game, he was mostly on special teams. He had 2 tackles in that game, a penalty. And on defense, he did get involved. He had 3 tackles and 2 stops. But Tyler Coyle, just like Wanye Thomas, they're going to have, due to the depth at this position, they've got an uphill battle, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to have what we call a nuclear camp. They're going to have a nuclear camp to make the 53-man roster. But I wouldn't get too crazy because, every year there's this guy's never going to make it through. If he gets cut, he's never going to make it through. They both got cut last year. They both made it through and were brought back on the practice squad. And Coyle, it happened to him a couple times. Wanye, it happened last year. So, unless these guys go stupid in preseason and people are seeing this tape, it wouldn't shock me if no matter how well they played, these guys will be back here on the practice squad just due to the depth at the position. So I'm not really trying to diminish what they could potentially do because we're still here in June. But does anybody think that Tyler Coyle and Wanye Thomas can really make this 53? I don't really see it happening. And it's really not to do with them. It's to do with the depth in front of them. The guys that have played, the other 5 guys, and we'll talk about them in a second. But at the end of the day, though, if you say I can get me a 6'3", 17-pound guy like Wanye on the practice squad and continue to develop, Tyler Coyle is a bit of a super athletic guy. He's played some free, played some strong. We still don't quite know what we're going to do with Tyler Coyle yet. But if I can get these 2 guys back on the practice squad as developmental guys, hey, I feel good about that. Pretty much a resounding no. In the chat, everybody is pretty much here believing these guys won't make the team. And that's fine. It's not about them. It's about the starters. Tom, you might be on to something here. He said those 2 would be our starters 10 years ago. Who, what is this? 2023. Who would have thought? Look at us. We got a safety room we're proud of. Who would have thought? Not me. Boy, I done gave up on the Cowboys thinking about them getting safeties. I used to go into the draft, studying all these safeties, and then I said, you know what? I'm not looking at another safety. Y'all gonna have to tell me about the safeties because Dallas just don't like investing in them. Then all of a sudden, they give Malik Hooker a little bit of money. They give Jayron a little bit of money. They give Dono a whole lot of money. Who would have thought? Not me. Damn sure not me. All right, let's get back into it. Marquis Bell, another long safety, 6'3", goes about 205, maybe a little bit more, given another off-season peanut butter. We'll see if he put on some more weight here. But how do you tell how the staff views you as somebody they really see something in? If you're a young guy like Marquis Bell, did you suit up in the postseason? That's how I looked at it. Did you suit up in the postseason? Marquis Bell did that. Now, he played mostly special teams. He had a few snaps on defense, but he played. And he played in all the units on special teams. And obviously, we know the Cowboys really like Marquis Bell because Dan Quinn came out and talked about how much he liked Marquis Bell as an undrafted free agent. But talk is cheap. did you get any action? He did suit up for 5 games in the regular season, and he was always on the 53-man roster. Now, he might have been inactive, but he never went down on practice squad or was cut or released or anything. So I do think they have an idea of what they want from Bell, and it might be in the form of potentially being Jayron Kearse's replacement. I mean, I'm just saying, I ain't trying to start nothing. But if you guys remember the audio/video we played last year on Dan Quinn, one of the first things he said was, hey, when we got a hold of Marquis Bell down there at Florida A&M, I worked him out, you know, as a safety and a linebacker because I wanted to know if he could do multiple things. It's very possible that they are grooming him to be the replacement of Jayron. Now, I'm not trying to kick Jayron out of here. I'm just trying to think logically, like, are they going to pay these other, you know, Malik and Jayron, we'll talk about them in a second. Are they going to pay them to stick around longer than a year or two? I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. They already paid another safety big money. But this is what I love about this young room. Guys like Marquis Bell and Israel Mukuamu, they can be slowly integrated in as opposed to being thrown in the fire. And that way, by the time you get to a year 3 or 4, you know, these dudes are ready to go, roaring to go, and you can possibly extend one for cheap and get back into kind of getting ahead of these things and still having quality on the field. Let me say that. So I'll keep an eye on Marquis Bell, more so of the responsibilities, the things he's doing. Are they Jayron like? Is this a guy that needs to be to the hip of Jayron Kearse moving forward? But Israel Mukuamu, Izzy is a special player here in the sense of I'm not saying he's special like, oh, this is Earl Thomas, but his traits and what they asked of him last year was specialty. Like, he had, to me, one of the most physically obvious jumps from year 1 to year 2. One of the most physically obvious jumps from year 1 to year 2. Played in all but one game last year, had 154 snaps on defense, 278 snaps on special teams. But it was his performance in the playoffs that really got Cowboys Nation going, and specifically in that Tampa Bay game. We all know the story where the Cowboys are trying to figure things out on the outside, and we kept saying there's just no way they can go into the playoffs with Nashawn Wright, Boss Man Fat, Trayvon Mullins, Xavier Rhodes as their outside corners. Those guys were getting worked. So Dan Quinn threw in a curveball. He slid DB, which is Deron Bland, outside, and said, we're going to put Izzy in the slot. In the slot, he had a Godwin matchup, which honestly played into his favor, and he managed to hold his own. He was targeted 8 times in that game, 4 receptions, 49 yards, and a pass breakup. Kind of his coming out party as a go-to type of guy we're relying on here. Now, we all loved it. I loved it. 100% thought this was fantastic. In fact, his whole playoff performance, if you go back and look at the rating when targeted, was less than 62 quarterback rating. So Israel Mukuamu stepped up. But I do want to add context. Okay, number one, this was that time where we were trying to figure things out at cornerback 2, and they had to do some moving around. So I don't think that Israel Mukuamu is going to be a slot guy that you relied upon, but he could potentially be a specialty dude given matchups or injuries or what have you. Number 2, those matchups were perfect. They were big slots. Juwan Jennings, Chris Godwin, these aren't the twitchy slots that you're going to see more often than the bigger slots across the league. So it worked out because Izzy can match up against those big slots. But I don't think he's a guy you want as a full-time slot, because if he gets involved with the nuance type of route runner, given his length, it's just tough. It's tough to be that tall, that long, and deal with super twitchy guys on the inside, with two-way goes. It's tough. And even within his good film on here, you saw some of the things that make it tough for a 6'4" guy to contend in the slot. Now, I didn't put that tape in here, but if you would like to see that tape, obviously you can go and check out A to Z Sports Film Room, or you can just go watch it for yourself. But you saw some of those things where Chris Godwin got the best of him a little bit, and maybe the throw was off or what have you. But I think you want Izzy to kind of focus as a specialty guy. And me personally, now I'm going to get into what I would love to see them do. I would love to see Izzy under Malik Hooker's wing. If we were being completely honest with ourselves, Cowboys Nation, there's not a whole lot of free safety types on the team. A whole lot of roof guys on the team. I think Izzy, former cornerback, can be your next roof guy. Malik Hooker, if you're listening, I'm not trying to kick you off the team, but I understand you're on 1-year deal. And I don't know if they're going to bring him back. So you got to have somebody in-house, you would hope, because that's what Dallas likes to do. We don't want to pay a bunch of players. We want to kind of replace them cheaply. But Izzy doesn't have a cheap game. He's just on a rookie deal. So I would love to see Dallas attach Malik and Izzy together and say, look, we want to groom you to be our roof guy. He's got this newfound physicalness. He's got this newfound confidence, obviously, as a second-year player going to a third-year player. He's got the length that I think he could be a roof guy of the future. And from a safety standpoint, I do think he's physical and quick enough now. I think coming in, you saw the hesitancy. You kind of saw him be a little bit soft. But I would love to see Israel Mukuamu kind of get groomed to be that free safety of the future. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it with Izzy, man. CJ says, will they switch positions, Izzy and Boss Man? I don't think so, CJ. That's what I was trying to get at. And it's weird because I don't want to talk down on his performance. The performance was admirable in the playoffs. But when you really look at it, it's like I don't want a 6'4" guy in the slot full time. Matchup purposes, fine. But week in, week out, that's going to be tough to do. It's just physically tough to do as a 6'4" guy that doesn't have that type of twitchiness, that type of feet movement to be in there dealing with the Kadarius Tonys of the world, right? These twitchy guys where Deron Bland can do that week in, week out. And he's got the size, in my opinion, too. I just think they needed Deron Bland on the outside. Nonetheless, I think Bland is the quintessential slot guy for the Cowboys, not necessarily Izzy. I like Izzy as your specialty guy, and me personally would love to see him be groomed as a safety, free safety of the future in 2024. It's kind of where I'm looking at it. It came out as a corner. He came out of college as a corner, CJ, and as an outside corner. Two different things, as we know. That's like asking Nashawn Wright to go into Izzy, same thing. Like asking these 6'4" type guys to come into the slot is really, really difficult. But they moved him quickly to safety, and that's kind of where his home's at. Los, let's get you on the horn. What's good, Los?
Good morning, Sky, man. I hope you're having a great morning. Hey, it's crazy to believe. NHL's done. Baseball's about to be done in 6 months, and it's right back to football, man. Like, it's crazy how. Go ahead.
I'm talking. I didn't know NHL was done. I don't really follow it.
Oh, yeah. It's about to be. It's like, basically what I'm trying to say is time be moving fast, right? And it goes to anyone, right? It's up to you to keep up with the times, right? And I feel Dallas has done a great job building up this defense for the long run. And I feel like the safeties and corners are going to help the pass rush, and the pass rush are going to help the safeties and corners. I feel like this team is going to be made specifically to stop people, basically. Like, if you ain't scoring on us, then it's going to be real hard for you to get back in this game. And I feel one name that comes in particular, which was a steal to me in the draft, was he was even drafted, remind me if I'm reminded, it was Marquis Bell, correct? He was undrafted, correct?
Correct.
If I remember.
Correct.
Yeah, so I feel and he was one of my guys that I feel like we can maybe pick up in the 6th or 5th round. So for us getting him undrafted, I feel like that's a huge steal because I feel like he has the potential to maybe be a starter, but not like I'm not even gonna call him a Pro Bowl caliber, but I feel like he's decent enough to get the job done, and basically be a good rotational piece of what we need. And one thing, Sky, that you always have said is, damn it, we never have effing safeties, right? But I feel like they have addressed that over these last 2 years, and I can't complain. I mean, we have vets that know what they're doing, and we have young guys that have potential to learn from these vets, as they say. And one thing I do want to ask you, Sky, I just want to ask you in your opinion. So in the NHL, there's a thing where it's like a tradition where the vet kind of invites the rookie in to move in or live with him at their house, right? How would you feel if one of those vets bring in one of those guys or corners to basically teach them or live with them, but basically they pick up everything that they learned? Because I'm gonna just use that example. I know you don't know much about Dallas Stars hockey, but one guy that was really doing some noise in the rookie. He was a rookie, but under that playoff series, he was living under Joe Pavelski, which is like basically an 18-year-old vet teaching this rookie how to seize the moment, how to attack, how to do all this stuff. But I feel like if you were to do the same thing, how you said, Izzy Mukuamu, basically like with Hooker, man, Sky, I mean, you're basically setting yourself up for the future. And not only that, like you said, you're just setting up yourself for them to be ready at any moment's time. Because that's what we need, Sky, is we can have these vets ready to play, but if these rookies ain't ready, as you saw with Jalen Kearse last year, it's gonna be a hard thing to ask. Like, hey, let's go. We're gonna put you out there, bro. Let's see what you do, without knowing the speed of the game, how to play, what all these things are. So I feel like this Cowboys team is very young, very hungry. We'll see what we can do. But I mean, I think there's nothing we should worry about our safeties or corners, other than like we already know two corners might be on their way out. But I mean, I'll leave you at that, Sky. I feel like if we can just basically capitalize on what we have now, I don't think we have to worry about too much. But I will say, adding a third corner I would not be opposed to it, because Kevin Boss. What is it? I would still like to have. Damn, I forgot that corner. The one.
Yeah, we was talking about.
It was the tip of my tongue.
Corners, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. What you told me you moved him from the outside. It was not the rookie from last year.
Deron Bland.
Oh, Bland. I would like to keep Bland in the slot. That's my preference. But if we can find the third corner to help, but that's about it. But yeah. Jeez, sorry I went all over the place.
You was everywhere, Lo.
Down, but
appreciate you.
Yeah, today. Yeah, but yeah. You have a great morning, Scott.
You as well, brother. You as well. Los means well. I was trying to answer his question. I don't even know if it was a question. Just kind of an observation, maybe something along the lines of, having the guys bunk with each other and whatnot. Yeah, I think, Los, that's kind of what I meant by, having Izzy and Malik be the guy, and then Marquis Bell and Jayron Kearse, be the guys. But yeah, I'm with you. I think those two specifically, if they could be groomed by those veterans, that'd be awesome. Now, apologies though, my camera seems to be going in and out. We're gonna try to get through this. Now, naturally, competition kicks in. Jayron Kearse is a dog, y'all. Malik Hooker got some dog in him. These boys ain't trying to give up their spot. And when you look at the starting room and you see the big three here, Malik Hooker, Jayron, and Dono, we'll individually go through these boys. The only worry here is really a future worry in Malik and Jayron. Those guys have 1-year deals. Now, they're not super old at the safety position. You can play that position, I think, into your 30s. In Malik's case, he had early injury issues that aren't really the case anymore, so he didn't play a whole lot early on. So while I would love for them to kind of, young guy, let me show you how it's done, there's probably a competitive nature in them saying, young guy, you're not taking my spot. Not happening. These are contract years these two dudes are on, so they're going to try to, show the team that I'm needed here to get an extra extension or a contract or whatnot. Will both of these guys be brought back? June 12th, 2023. I don't feel great about that, but I didn't think they'd sign Donovan Wilson to the contract they did, so maybe things would change. Let's talk about Malik Hooker, though. One of my favorite gets over the last couple years has been Malik Hooker. I remember when we first signed him, I reached out to Darius Butler, DB, friend of the show, and I said, man, can you come on and talk about Malik Hooker? Because I liked him coming out. I liked him early on with the Colts. You were a veteran guy that played with the young Malik Hooker. He told me straight up, a healthy Malik Hooker could be a top 5 free safety. He told us that. In year 1, Malik showed some promise. Then year 2, Malik really showed that I'm over this injury and I could be a relied upon guy. He played at 860 snaps, which was his most since 2018, collecting 62 tackles, 44 solo, 3 picks, career high, and 11 stops. But here is really what is, a lot of people might say this is nothing, but for Malik, this is a big deal. He played in at least 15 games in back-to-back seasons. Malik Hooker was a super injury-prone guy his first half of his career. So to see that he can play in back-to-back years and play most of the games, in fact, I think he played them all last year, and then his first year in Dallas, it wasn't that he wasn't healthy enough to play. He was still coming off the injury, and then I think week 2 was when they activated him, and then about week 3 or so, they kind of got him going with some snaps. So, it's really good to see Malik Hooker be able to be available because he's always had the talent. But here's what I loved about Malik Hooker last year. When Jayron Kearse went down, you saw him kind of get comfortable with that leadership role when he was out. And it was really evident. You could see it against the Giants Monday Night Football on the road. No Jayron Kearse. He needed to step up. Not only did he step up on the field, but he stepped up off of it as well. And this video clip from, I think it was their sound to the sideline, you could kind of see that he's galvanizing the guys on the sideline.
Hey, this still ain't our level. Take that up another notch, bro. This is what's probably gonna happen, bro. They probably gonna do high up offense right here in tempo. Yep. That's the only way they can stay in and get plays. So we got to get on the ball, get lined up, and really focusing on the details, communicate. And first, and most of all, bro, we got to tackle. That's it. Whatever y'all do best, do it. Yep.
That's Malik Hooker, sound to the sideline. You really saw him just take hold of that leadership role when Jayron was out. And he backed it up on the field, specifically in that game. But in general, I thought you saw Malik Hooker kind of round into form as an overall safety. One of the things I noticed on the Colts tape was fantastic in coverage. I was a little suspect about how he would defend the run and how he would come up and tackle. But that all changed last year. He was one of the best tacklers on the team, and that ain't coming from me. That's coming from Dan Quinn. And then statistically, that's backed up as well. He only missed 4 tackles on the season, which was a career best. And he had a sub 6% missed tackle percentage, which was by far a career best. And if you go look at that across the league, that places him in, I think, that top 25. But Malik Hooker really rounded into form from a leadership standpoint. He rounded into form from a overall player standpoint. His best work, though, was obviously on the roof. And when you're playing on the roof, man, I don't think you get enough respect, because there's a lot of times where the angle you took, the read you made, takes away the quarterback's ability to make a big play downfield. And it's very similar to what happened with LVE. Like, LVE didn't make a ton of plays in the past game, but if you go and watch, you'll see that he might have took away an angle. He might have took away a window that made the quarterback come off of it or go to a check down or what have you. Malik Hooker did that in spades last year. Now, was he perfect? No. There was plays that were given up, but he was an extreme upgrade to me from a DeMonte KZ last year. And I think he helped, especially early on when you had cornerback 2 was better. Wasn't great, but it was better. I think you saw how important having him back there was. My only question was why, when cornerback 2 situation got ugly, you didn't allow him to shade. I didn't quite understand that. I didn't know if that was a DQ thing. I didn't know if that was a Malik thing. No one's really answered that, but it's water under the bridge at this point. But I thought overall, man, Malik Hooker, who is likely that forgotten guy in the big three, is one of the most important ones, though, because he's the only one, in my opinion, that can play on top of the roof. Shout out to Foots the King, who could play on top of the roof the way he does and has the twitchiness and coverage ability to do that, and playmaking ability too. So Malik Hooker is an extremely important piece to this Cowboys safety room, without a shadow of a doubt, man. That's very true, Professor. I'm in the chat here. O said Malik is surprisingly good at setting the edge when he does play down in the box occasionally. I was actually impressed in 2021. I think it was a Giants game, believe it or not, how physical Malik was at the line. And this could be coaching. This could be just the coaches unlocking that aspect of his game. But I was surprised how physical he was at the line of scrimmage or coming downhill in 2021. And to see him be able to carry that throughout an entire season in 2022, I thought was pretty special for Malik. Let's get 562 on the horn. What's good, 562?
Doing, bro?
Now I got you up in there. What's good, man?
All right, man. Hey, man. Question is this, bro. You know, I've been talking about safeties right now. I want to talk a little bit about the defensive line.
I can't. Do me a favor. Take me off speaker if you can.
Okay. Is this better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, my question, I'm even talking about safety right now, but I want to ask you about a defensive line.
Sure.
Nobody really ain't talking about, I mean, everybody's talking about, you know, maybe Sam Williams having a big year. But what if Dorrance Armstrong have like 10 sacks, a 10-sack year this year? Do we try to extend him?
No,
or?
you collect your what is it? Probably going to be like a third or fourth round compensatory pick, and you be on your way. DA had 8 sacks last year, so if he gets 2 more, that's great. But I think you're pretty much capped out with. I think DA is capped out, and that's fine. That's not a knock on him. He's a solid player for you. But no, I don't think you stop the progress of Sam Williams. Sam Williams' ceiling is so much higher than Dorrance Armstrong. There's no way I would extend him and then keep Sam Williams on the bench.
What about maybe letting go of the other defensive end, the
DeMarcus Lawrence,
the one that's the high paid one,
DeMarcus Lawrence. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Dorrance Armstrong is better than DeMarcus Lawrence?
I'm saying, like, all right.
Let me answer the question. Do you think Dorrance Armstrong is better than DeMarcus Lawrence?
I think he has the potential to be, because I think
no way in hell,
when DeMarcus Lawrence was at the same year that Dorrance Armstrong was, I don't think he was what he was.
Huh?
I think he came on kind of late.
Who?
If I recall right.
Sir, you said DeMarcus Lawrence wasn't what Dorrance Armstrong was at that same year. DeMarcus Lawrence was getting 17 and 14 sacks at that point in time.
Not the first 3 years. What year did Dorrance Armstrong? He was third or fourth year, right?
Sir.
That's when he came on, that third or fourth year.
I think you're misremembering. Dorrance Armstrong's going into what, year 4 or 5? Was it year 5?
All right, he didn't have the same amount of play time that Lawrence did.
My man, you said DeMarcus Lawrence at the same.
Pick, right?
You okay? Go ahead. You got it, my man.
Lawrence was a 2nd round pick. I think he didn't come on to like his last. It's like I think he came on maybe the year prior to his final year a little bit, but then that final year he came on. I think he started franchising and all that.
Okay. Well, you're just flat out wrong when it comes to the time frame. So I think you're misremembering the time frame. DeMarcus Lawrence had like a. Yeah, you're misremembering the time frame. So go back to the question. If you believe that Dorrance Armstrong is going to be a better player than DeMarcus Lawrence in your world of football, then yeah, you would do that. I don't believe that. I don't believe Dorrance Armstrong is a better player than DeMarcus Lawrence now. I don't believe he'd be a better player than him this year. I don't believe he'll be a better player than him next year. But if you believe that, then yeah, that's the move you would make in your football world. I just don't think he's better than him. I don't think he will be better than him. But so I would allow him to walk, get your compensatory pick, and you got Sam Williams as your guy.
Well, I mean, yeah, I love. Don't get me wrong, I love Sam Williams, bro. I just said what is, and I know the Joneses love Armstrong too, man. So I know we don't really talk about that much, and I just let's throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if he gets 10 sacks, like I said, man, you congratulate him. Go get your bag. Go get your bag elsewhere. I don't think he's so perfect example. Micah Parsons said anybody can get a lot of sacks. I don't want to be a guy. I want to be the guy. Dorrance Armstrong's not like that to me. He'd be one of those guys that gets you a lot of sacks because he's a guy. So I wouldn't pay him as the guy. I don't believe him.
I gotta go.
Huh?
Hey, thanks. I'll listen, bro.
Gotcha, man. There we go. Yeah, I think he might be misremembering DeMarcus Lawrence's start to his career after he got hurt. I mean, I can help him out here. Right in his second year, he grabbed you 8 sacks. Then he hurt his foot again in his third season. Everybody wasn't sure what was going to happen. But right after that, the same time frame is Dorrance Armstrong. DeMarcus Lawrence gave you 25 sacks in 2 years and like 7 forced fumbles. I don't even think he was close to DeMarcus Lawrence in impact. Now he did put up some good sacks. He had 6 sacks 2021 and 8 sacks in 2022. That's nothing to knock in regards to DA. But and we'll talk about the defensive end room for sure. We'll get to that in a second. But I just think that Dorrance Armstrong is who he is. He's a solid guy that you would love to have in a rotation. But he's not the guy. He's not a guy that I'm willing to progress stop a dude like Sam Williams, and I'm willing to move on DeMarcus Lawrence because of Dorrance Armstrong. Not me. Now, if he come out here and go berserk, like beyond 10 sacks, and he's getting all these forced fumbles, he's a dominant against the run, yeah, that can change. But here, as we speak in 6-12, and that example you gave us where it's 10 sacks, that's just 2 more from last year. 2 more from last year. That's not enough for me to just completely go away from what I think he is. Now, he would have a solid 3-year run, 6, 8, and 10. That's a really damn good run for a rotational type guy, for sure. No doubt about it. But I just think DeMarcus Lawrence is better. I think Sam has a higher ceiling. I think his talent is just through the roof, and I would hate to get rid of a guy. I mean, look, if D-Law sucks this year, I think things may be changed in the sense of what you do with D-Law, but I don't think that'll be the case. Damn, had somebody on the line, but now they gone. Lauren, we're gonna get to the linebackers as well, but he said who would start at middle linebacker if LVE goes down? Harper, Clark, Parsons, Overshawn. I think it would be Clark for sure. He did it last year. Brother L, Dorrance is cool. Does his best when other star players take all the attention away. Occasional big play, solid player. That's, you know what? That's the question I should have asked. Trying to remember, make sure I ain't speaking wrong here. Yeah, we're good. When DeMarcus Lawrence was asked to be the guy as a pass rusher, he put up, again, how many sacks was that in that kind of 3-year stretch? 32, 33. He put up 33 sacks in that 3-year stretch, the foot injury not included here, in that 3-year stretch. 33 sacks when he was asked to be the guy. And he wasn't just like, I'm just sacking and running into quarterbacks. He was double team, triple team, whatever. He was the guy, and he put up a lot of sacks. Do we believe that Dorrance Armstrong, if tasked to be the guy, could do that? I don't think so. Good conversation, though. Nah, I didn't clip that Aztec. Let me get the 210 real quick, and then we'll wrap it up with the other two safeties. 210, what it is, what it do?
Yo, what's going on, brother? Name's
up,
Ike.
It's good, Ike.
Oh man, just yes sir. Been a listener for probably about like a year or a half or so. Just want to give some props and some love, man. This is you've been one of my like morning routine shows. It's just awesome getting to work and then being able to throw on some Cowboy talk and rather than listening at those big letter networks.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man, of course. And then getting No C on, man, that's been so awesome. I've been so appreciative of being able to hear y'all two just go back and forth with it all. Man, it's been awesome for sure.
Yeah,
No
C is amazing. What you got for the show, brother?
Man, I just wanted to get some love. Been meaning to call in for a while. But,
I appreciate that, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. You have a good one.
You as well, man. You as well.
Later, brother.
I will always be humble when I hear that, being part of your routine. I know I see a lot of y'all here every day, obviously, and part of your routine, but it never really hits me till I realize I got my own morning show routine and whatnot that I listen to, and it's just kind of crazy, man. But let's kind of get back to the safety room here. Good conversation about the defensive end room, and we'll definitely be talking about that this week. So good segue by the caller. Future segue by the caller. Jayron Kearse, ladies and gentlemen. J-Rock, as my guy Koye would say. He goddamn dog. Boy, you gotta, if you have to have a Jayron Kearse on your defense, man. Got to. Not only is he the leader in that safety room, but he is still, and I'm going to use the word undisputed because from what I'm hearing, it's undisputed. He's the undisputed leader on the defense. And he continues to back it up on the field as well. Now, he played dinged up last year for most of the season, and that's what comes with the territory when he plays a position he kind of plays here. He was dealing with a labrum issue. He had labrum surgery in the offseason, technically still kind of recovering from it, but he said he's able to do all the things he needs to do out there at practice, which obviously he was out there at practice. And no, he will not be wearing 0. He will be wearing number 27 this year. But nonetheless, last year played 815 snaps, 300 in the box, 77 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and an interception. And he continues to be one of the surest tacklers in the entire league. That can't go unnoticed because it's what allows Dan Quinn to let him kind of roam around out there a bit at the line of scrimmage because he's usually going to be where he needs to be, a very heady player, and he's usually going to finish the tackle. He's usually going to finish the tackle. But of the safeties that played in 600 plus snaps, he was 5th in the National Football League in missed tackle percentage. And if you up that to 700, he was 3rd. And if you go even higher to 800, he was 2nd. Only Tashawn Gibson finished with a better missed tackle percentage than Jayron Kearse for guys who played in 800 or more snaps. So he continues to just be a really dominant and sure tackler and dependable guy for you. Obviously kind of an extension of a linebacker because, hey, that's the position that Dan Quinn wants him to play. It's kind of that extended linebacker, the big nickel, if you will. So, and this kind of goes back to the contract situation. And somebody said this some months ago. Damn, Sky, you putting that out there with Jayron Kearse? I don't mean to put it out there. But y'all know we got to talk about everything. And when we do these State of the Units, we often talk about the future as well. And Jayron is on the final year of a 2-year contract he got last offseason where he tested the market for quite some time and he did not get back the returns that he thought he would get. And part of me wonders if that's because of Dan Quinn, where Dan Quinn knows how to utilize him. Not every team is going to utilize Jayron in that manner. So his value to the Cowboys is higher than the value across the league. I do think Jayron, and I do think Malik Hooker, I hate to say it, man, but there's a little bit of pressure. There's a little bit of pressure on these two to play even better. Because if they do that, then I'd lean into one of these guys returning. Both of them on top of Dono's contract, which we'll get to here in a second. That's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. So between the two, I love them both. Malik is he's a free safety. And he showed that ability to be a leader when Jayron, the absolute leader in that defense, was out. Jayron, a true leader, a modern day box safety, a guy who plays in a box, but also has to do a bunch of different things, and kind of the perfect fit for a Dan Quinn defense. These guys are on 1-year deals. Cat Boy is looking. They're going to have to play better. Which, you know what? I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at an extension not happening. Allow those to break that pool stick, throw it on the floor and say, one of y'all coming out of here victorious. It's going to make everybody better. Then you got Donovan Wilson, who played his way into the largest safety contract since Ken Hamlin. Flat out, one of my favorite players on the team, period. But flat out, when Donovan Wilson has been healthy and been called upon to be a full-time player for the Cowboys, he's delivered. There's only been 2 years that's happened. In 2020 and 2021. Both seasons he played 14 or more games, and last year he played every single last game. But in between all that, remember his rookie year, he didn't see any playing time. It didn't even put him on the field. He got like one game of snaps and it wasn't nothing. And then in 2021, after having that fantastic 2020 season, he got injured. Boom, right away. He went down and he only ended up playing 9 games and had 3 starts. He had some moments in those games, but he didn't play a whole lot like we were expecting. And that birthed us Jayron Kearse. But then last year, healthy, available, and called upon to be a full-time player. He had a career season, 101 tackles, 77 solo, 37 stops, 7 tackles, 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 9 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, 1 icing. He was all over the place. All over the place, man. Donovan Wilson was probably one of your most underrated players on the entire team last year. The hitman, not Brett. If you look at those 2 seasons where he was called upon, the 2020 year and last year, combined 5 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 5 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, 3 interceptions. The kamikaze is quite literally a weapon on defense. You can make an argument. I do believe this. You can make an argument that he's right there with Jayron Kearse when it comes to being one of the most versatile players in the room or on the defense, period. Because he played a ton of snaps in the box. I mean, he played more snaps in the box technically than Jayron, but Jayron was, out. He played over 400 snaps in the box last year, y'all. But he also played a ton of snaps in coverage, a ton of snaps in the back half of the defense. And I've seen him be able to cover pretty well from a safety standpoint, where you kind of see Dono get in a bit of trouble is manning up at the line of scrimmage or intermediate, dealing with guys like a Dallas Goedert. I saw Dallas Goedert work him a little bit, but I also saw Dallas Goedert and the kid from here in Minnesota now, Hawkinson, kind of get at Jayron a little bit last year too. But he is such a weapon. He reminds me, not from a leadership standpoint, but just from a versatile standpoint, of our own Weapon X. Our very own Brian Dawkins. If you look at B-Dawk was everywhere. B-Dawk could blitz. B-Dawk could sack the quarterback. He was active in the pass game. He was forcing fumbles. He was everywhere on that defense. They asked Donald to play spy last year. They asked him to do linebacker things. They asked him to blitz. And he's tough. What makes him tough is he's just so goddamn fast and physical on the field. He might not run a 4.3 or low 4.4, but he plays fast. He plays with instinct, and he finishes. There's an argument he's your best safety. I'm biased. I believe so because he's one of my favorite players at one of my favorite positions. But Donovan Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, 100% deserved that contract and deserved to be mentioned up there with some of the guys that are playing at a high level in this league. He just isn't a household name just quite yet. Give it some time. I think you'll see Dono shine again this year, man. I truly do believe that. I truly do believe that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our safety room. That's our state of the unit. Safeties. Real quick. Run it back. Wanye Thomas, Tyler Coyle kind of round out that backup safety unit. Those two guys are likely going to be fighting for the practice squad again unless they go absolutely stupid. Whereas Marquis Bell and Israel Mukuamu very quietly could be your replacements for these two guys here, Malik and Jayron. That's a lot. That's big shoes to fill. I'm not trying to stamp that just quite yet. These boys got to come out here and continue to improve because guys like Malik and Jayron are not laying down anytime soon. And they actually are what make this room as deep as it is. And then obviously Donovan Wilson, who got the contract, got the respect that he was looking for. Now he just has to go out there and live up to it, which I think he absolutely will. So you got a ridiculously deep safety room, in my opinion, with veterans and youth. The present and the future is in good hands with Dan Quinn. All right, let's get back to the phone line. 757. What it is, what it do?
What's going on, Scott, man? First time caller here, man. I've been checking out your show for a while, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, first time caller. But as far as the safety go, man, for the the Jeff Heath and the JJ Wilcox of the world, man, just make you appreciate this safety group right now, man.
Facts.
Just I call them the bad angle guys, man. That's what we had, man. These just took terrible angles tackling.
JJ will he'd knock your head off, but he also just whiff right by you. Ole.
Yeah. And that just shows you, man, the different coaching regimes that we have now versus then. How, you just like each and every year they just, they hated change. The Jason Garrett and they hated change,
That's true.
man. So and I think Heath just stayed there too. He stayed there too long, just pretty much. He just that he should have, man. And,
yeah, they treated.
They didn't address.
They treated safety, brother, like they treated Rob Marinelli treated safety like he treated defensive tackle. Just give me anybody.
Exactly.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, and it goes to show, man, when you get coaching in there and they have a great philosophy, man, especially knowing the need for safety, the need for safety in the defense, man. At least good safety, man, and it shows. So. Thank God for Dan Quinn, man, yes. And Mike McCarthy also. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, with certain things. So, just both of you guys not falling in love with players just because you build some relationship. Hey, if they're not, if they're not working for your philosophy and things like that, man, hey,
time to sit down.
Put somebody in or get somebody that's gonna win you games. Yep. So that's all I got, man.
I appreciate you. Good first call, man.
Call them all.
Indeed, please do. First time callers be killing it. Here we go. No lies told there. Those boys, in regards to McCarthy and Dan Quinn, they sit your ass down. Well, at least Dan Quinn. We about to find out with McCarthy, but he'll sit your ass down. We'll give you a shot, Kelvin. Sit down. We'll give you a shot, Nashawn. Sit down. Give you a shot, Xavier Rhodes and Mullins. Sit down. I'll give you a shot, Neville. Come sit down. But I think it's hilarious. Not hilarious, but just ironic how the Cowboys defense, granted, Dan Quinn's the best defense coordinator they've had quite some time. The Cowboys defense all of a sudden becomes this consistently dependable defense when they do what? When they emphasize the middle of the field, defensive tackle, safety. They ignored those positions for years, treated them like second-rate positions. And all of a sudden, you get Dan Quinn in here who signed some specialty guys on the interior, finally drafts a big. Is he the next best thing? No, but it shows that they're emphasizing it. Then goes out here, drafts one in the first round in his third season. Signs a Jonathan Hankins. Brings on Jayron, a former first-round pick in Malik Hooker, a former 10-interception guy in KZ, Pro Bowler under Dan Quinn. There was an emphasis on the middle of the field. And now you're starting to see this defense become respectable, year in and year out. And dare I say, one of the best defenses, if not the best, heading into 2023. Whereas Rod, the orphan boys, give me Nick Hayden. Nick Hayden stayed catching strays, by the way, when we use him as examples, but it is what it is. Give me Nick Hayden. These type of guys on the interior. Go get me Jeff Heath, Island Ball, and now he might have been pre-Rob or nothing, but you know what I mean. Like, they stopped caring about the safety position for quite some time. Now, they went out and signed Gerald Sensenball to a decent contract, and I thought, okay, we back, and then they just went on this hiatus of caring about the position. Abilene, Texas in the building. Did I say that right? 325. What it is, what it do?
Hey, what's good, Scott? How are you?
I'm good, sir.
Oh, man, I was just, now that we're talking about the defense, how do you feel about the linebacker room?
Man, it is one of those question marks depth-wise. Believe it or not, because y'all know how I feel about LVE, but from a starting standpoint, I like not Jabril Cox, but Damone Clark. I think Damone Clark is going to have a year or two jump, man. I really do. And I like him with an LVE. So I'm actually fine from a starter standpoint, especially given what we got in front of them now. But it's the depth, right? It's the what happens if or when LVE gets dinged up. Can we count on Jabril? Can we count on Overshown? And to be 100 with you, it's something that I just have to see in camp. I got to see in preseason. Like, can we count on these boys yet? So far, so good from Overshown and Jabril Cox. They're gaining some momentum, but I think it's fair to say that is probably our biggest question mark, the linebacker room in regards to depth, right?
Oh yeah, that just makes me wonder if they'll try something where they only use LVE for like the run teams, maybe like the run heavy teams, because he's just one hit and they could do it for him. And then there goes the depth. There goes the starter.
Well, LVE probably not coming off the field that much this year. Like maybe when you want to match up with the guy, like if you want to match up a tight end on him or whatever, you substitute him. But I feel like LVE is going to be an extreme integral part of this defense. How many percentage of the snaps did he play in last year? Let me see. Take a look, because I don't think he's gonna come off the field that much, bro.
Well, that's what scares me is they're not gonna save him, I guess, kind of, or maybe that's just being greedy.
So before he got hurt, he played 700 snaps. He was on pace to play about 900 snaps. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back. In fact, he almost played a career high snaps while missing 4 games. So yeah, he ain't really gonna come off the field that much. Yeah.
All right, sir. Now, that was really all I had with the linebackers. I appreciate all the work you put in, though.
Thank you, man. Yeah, y'all bringing up 2 positions that I definitely want to talk about in depth in our state of the unit, and that's linebacker and defensive end, and we 100% will do that. We'll go just like we did with today's unit. If you're new to the show, y'all dropping some names in here, man. Jason Ferguson. Now that was Parcells. Parcells went out, spent some bread on his boys. I remember that. Who else did I see here? Jack Crawford. Gregory, not much about Richards just quite yet. I do know that Aisha, who I want to get back on here, she brought up, if you're talking about Awesome Richards, she brought up some things about him. Sean Lissamore. I remember Sean Lissamore. Cedric Thornton. Cedric Thornton made the list of the big-time free agents the Cowboys signed from 2016 to 2021. And on that list was said, I don't even think he made it out the damn season. Henry Melton. Henry had a solid year, though, if I'm not mistaken. He used to be a former Pro Bowler, and then Rod, he got injured. Rod tried to bring him back.
Super chat.
Shout out to Roster X in the chat. Dropped 10 and said, "Money talks. Ask Barry Church how much of an hour of his time costs." Salute, bro. Nah. B will come on for the strength. On the strength, he just show love. He just show love. Chandra said the best defensive tackle we had was David Irvin. Come on, man. He honestly, I'm gonna say this. David Irvin might be the best or biggest what if. And I know a lot of people will say Sean Lee, what if he didn't hurt? Rolando McClain's another one. But David Irvin, man, was just so different. He was just so different. 6'7", go about 295, was strong, can peek and shed, had pass rush, had the length. He really had all the tools. He just didn't have it up here. And he's kind of the poster child of, you can be physically talented, but if you can't put it all together, it doesn't matter. Now we got another dude that's kind of like that now, but he didn't even show nearly as much as David Irvin showed, man. David fucking Irvin, man. He'd still be playing right now. He was that damn good. 240. Send us out, man.
What's good, Scott? This is Clebo from DC, man.
What's up, Clebo?
It's crazy, man, being on hold. What's up with you, man? It's crazy being on hold, man. I checked everything I wanted to talk about.
Hey, it's all good, man. You know me. We'll talk about it again, bro.
All right, that's what's up. But I did want to 100 with you with Dono, man. Not you, but personally, but you gotta find me a safety in the league better than Dono, because I don't think there's one either.
Beast,
you know what I'm saying? Man, Dono is that man, bro. I was surprised that we got him back, but more than happy about it, man. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to ask you about Kearse. I think, everything you touched on, like you said, man, I think our system fits Kearse. We use Kearse perfectly. Dan Quinn used Kearse perfectly in the system. Is it popular around the league where they're using three safeties and using like a safety like to be a hybrid linebacker type? Is that popular around the league?
I think it is, brother. I think big nickel is when I say popular, I don't know how many teams are doing it to the extent the Cowboys are. I want to say those boys play upwards of 60% of the snaps on the field together. I know Professor O can get me that number. I don't know if teams are doing it at that high of a rate, but big nickel is a thing. Is it a thing, though, enough to where a guy like Jayron is a featured on defense across the league? I think the league might have answered that question when he became a free agent, and he didn't get the contract he was looking for, so he came back to Dallas on, more money than I have, obviously, I'll make, but not enough to put him in that top tenure of a safety contract-wise. So it's something to think about, bro.
Got you. And I know you touched on Bell earlier, and you said that might be a possibility of him replacing J.K. Yeah. What about what you think about Overshawn? Like, if you could get a guy like Overshawn, or maybe even Cox. I know Cox. I hear all the time that he wants to play safety. You know what I'm saying? You think it'll be a little better? I mean, if they can cover as well as J.K. I
haven't heard Cox say he wanted to play. A lot of fans want to put him at safety, but it's clear he's your linebacker 3 right now. But Overshawn has actually got snaps at safety. Overshawn's the guy who could be looked at as that type of Jayron too. So I wouldn't rule that out either. But right now it looks like they're trying him out at will, and they'll see what happens. But Overshawn, I think, is going to get more rope to be safety than Jabril Cox was. Even if certain fans want to move Jabril Cox to safety, they don't view him as a safety. He is a linebacker that can cover well, that they're trying to groom to be a linebacker that can cover well. Whereas Overshawn legitimately played in Division I football at Texas at safety for a couple years. Like he quite literally was a safety at the highest level of competition, not North Dakota State or high school, where, by the way, Overshawn was one of the best safeties in the nation in high school. Came into Texas, played there for a few years, then moved to linebacker. So there's more conversation to be had about Overshawn potentially taking over a Jayron Kearse role than Jabril Cox, in my opinion. Especially because those two dudes play different too. I think Overshown plays more downhill than Jabril.
Than Jabril, yeah, he's definitely more looking for that contact more than Jabril. And the last thing with our linebackers, I know you're gonna touch on that, but I might be working, man. I apologize, but with the linebackers, like LVE, man, he really stepped up his game since we picked up Hankins. And I think he played great in the he surprised me in the playoffs. I ain't gonna lie, he played great. Even in pass defense, he was downfield making plays. He played great. With me, I guess this is what I want to ask. I mean, I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but I guess I'm going to have to wait one more year to actually see two fast linebackers on the field. Like, let's say Jabril just comes out in training camp and he's dogging him, man. He's killing him. Be like, man, we got to put this dude on the field, man. Because he showed some signs before he had that knee injury. And then last year, recovering from the ACL, hopefully he can come back and, get better and be better. But if he dogs out in training camp, man, I just want to see. I mean, I love our defense. And like I said, I ain't shitting on. I mean, I ain't messing with LVE and what he did. I just want to see two fast linebackers on the field. But I know with his experience and everything. And I think it was kind of overblown when we lost him last year. A lot of people were saying, what our defense did. People not putting in, or our run defense, but people not putting in, they not even thinking Hankins missed those games as well. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a combination of both of them being out. Yeah, that's an excellent.
That's an excellent point. But LVE's presence was missed, or lack of presence was felt. Like that was real. Like you could see. Yeah, you could see Damone Clark trying to figure it out more. And look, he gained my respect. I ain't gonna lie to you. He gained my respect when he went out even more, and he was playing better even when he was in there, especially with Hankins in there. But I'm with you. There's kind of that, is the grass greener on the other side thought process. Like, what happens if I get two stupid athletic dudes in there? Like, what would happen? That's all. I just want to know. I'm not saying that Jabril Cox and Damone Clark are Overshown. They're going to be these Pro Bowl studs. But like I say about a lot of players, I would like to see them have a chance to fail. That's all.
I agree, man. And man, football, like I know football, man. You put into some good defensive tackles in there, man. That does a lot to an average linebacker. You know what I'm saying? So, Facts. I mean, ask Ray Lewis. What them big boys did for him in his career. I mean, Ray Lewis was a dog, but look what they did for him in his career, man. So you get some guys up there in the middle, like you said earlier. You get some big guys up in the middle of the field. That does a lot for your linebackers, man. So I like to see some speed, or sometimes with LVE, man. And I like LVE, but I just feel like sometimes he just be hesitant to hit that hole, man. And I don't know why. Maybe it's his neck injury he's thinking about.
You're not lying. I think with LVE, you can see. Here's the thing that pisses me off about him. You can see him see it, right? Like he's like, I see it. I know it's coming. I know where it's going. You see kind of that Sean Lee in him sometimes. Like I see it, but he just don't really hit it. And obviously
he hesitates, man.
Obviously he's not a thumper like that. But then there's times where you'll see him hit it. I mean, the Bears game is a prime example. You'll see him see it, hit it, and go. And you'll be like, that right there, LVE. Man. That's what we want to see you do all the damn time, man. But, I'm not going to shit on him. I'm going to go ahead and say that LVE is an important piece of that second level because of his experience and his leadership in that room. But I would not be mad if Damone Clark took such a leap that they feel good about Damone Clark being the guy moving forward.
Exactly, man. And that's what I was more getting at. Not more shitting on LVE, but more the younger guys.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie to you. I shitted on LVE last year. So I came into the season ready to get rid of this mother. I was like, I'm done. I can't count on LVE. And then he didn't start that great. And then he was doing good. Then he got hurt again. And I was just like, man, whatever. And then you started to see, the defense was better with him in there. All right. I'm going to give him some props.
Yeah, he definitely put the guys in position, and I think Hank has helped a lot out with that, man. Sure. But once again, Scott, man, appreciate you taking the call, man. Appreciate all your work you're doing, too, man. Keep up the good work, bro.
Thank you, man. Good call. Appreciate it, man.
All right.
I mean, if it was up to me, Lauren. Come on now. Lauren dropped one, or not drop one, but Lauren was in the chat. She said, said, why not have Parsons in the middle? Clark Cox and Overshown on the outside. It's up to me. But I think Micah just showed that he's just ridiculous at rushing the passer. So they would never just put him at middle linebacker. So y'all don't want me running it. Y'all want me running. I just think Micah in the middle, pun intended, would just be absurd. But I think the responsibilities of the middle linebacker in this defense is more or less helping dictate in the run, or not dictate, but helping get to where you need to be in the run game, and then playing the pass when they do kind of that Tampa 2 type of style. Whereas if Micah was in the middle, you're blitzing him. Like, you're blitzing him a lot from all over, and you're letting him run, run and chase. But God, man, he ain't got to be in the middle. Maybe you put him at will. But yeah, I would like to see Micah be moved around more now. I would like to see him. Zane, he said, what's the wide receiver room week 1? We did stay the unit wide receiver. And I believe the top 3 are the top 3. And you will see Simi and Tolbert round out 4 and 5. With Turpin kind of being that specialty guy. Yeah. I don't think we'll see many surprises in that room. Unless you consider Simi and Tolbert taking a jump of surprise. All right, let me get to, I think I might have read all the supers, just in case I missed any, though. Let me go over here. Boom, boom. Yep, we good. Matt dropped one earlier. Shout out to Matt Lennox.
Super chat.
Next time WWE come down here, man, we got to hit that joint together, bro. Appreciate you, though. He dropped 10 in the super chat. Just support, man. My fellow A to Z brethren. The Guru said, I want Parsons in a Reddick role, Von Miller role, off-ball outside linebacker, edge on certain down packages instead of full-time DE. Well, you might get that, Guru. Dan Quinn called him a pass rushing linebacker. Back in the day, quote unquote, we consider that a stand-up outside linebacker in a 3-4 type defense. Appreciate you, Matt. That was a pass rushing linebacker, but what's so unique about him is that he can play middle. He can play outside stand up. He can put his hand in the dirt, quite literally. One of the most versatile defenders that we've seen. I know we keep saying LT, but I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I don't know who else I'm supposed to compare this guy to. I haven't seen anything like him, so I think he's one of the most versatile guys. Tom but Tom said outside of wide receiver 1 and 2, lots of question marks in the room. Fair. I mean, when you look at Michael Gallup, can he return back to form? I mean, that's a question. And then when you look at Tolbert and Simi, obviously that's a question too. I think though, once you stack up the room to the rest of the league, the top 3, I guarantee you any fan base would love to have our problem. Are question marks in the top 3. Once you get to 4 and 5, I guarantee you, Tom, if you go around the league, you're going to see a lot of 4th, 5th, and 6th receivers where you're like, that's a question mark, right? But again, I think that's kind of we're Dallas Cowboy fans. We're solely focused on us, but pretty sure a lot of fan bases would love to have the Cowboys wide receiver problems. Pretty sure. I know Rolo. I know his game. I know his game. And I'm not even super Michael Gallup guy, but boy, if I'm rooting so hard for Michael Gallup just to shit on Tom. Oh, where my bomb? Oh, I hope Michael Gallup come out here and ball, Tom. The way you be shitting on this man is crazy. God damn, dog. Let me see here. What else we got? Full-time DE for Parsons means it'll keep him from full potential, says Jay. No, I ain't right, man. When it comes to my guy. And I don't even like to be told you so guy, but damn it, the way y'all come at this man. Oh, don't let Michael Gallup snap. Oh, don't let him do it. Who was the other caller we had too? He said, Michael Gallup ain't never been shit. Sir, look. 2019 didn't exist. 2020 before 2021 before the injury, none of that existed. Yeah, I hate this man, dog. All right, we're going to get up out of here, Cowboys Nation. Good stuff. Appreciate y'all for coming through. It's like I said, man, it's the dog days. It is the dog days. And we got about 6 weeks of dry period. So y'all know how this is where we really get in our bag with a lot of cool segments. We'll try to get some interviews, some guests and whatnot. We'll continue to do the scientific method segment on Thursdays. But in the meantime, in between time, we'll mix it up here. So make sure y'all come back through tomorrow. Voss and Brody Live, by the way. We'll be back today. 3-ish Mafia come through. And then Mo will be back on later tonight. A to Z Sports Prime Time. If you're not able to check out Mo, you can easily go on to AtoZSportsDallas.com and check out all of our fantastic writers that include one, Matt Lennox and Mauricio Rodriguez, constantly putting out quality stuff if you're more of a reader as opposed to a show watcher. But if you're a show watcher, I am super humble guy, but I would venture to say this is where you want to come to start your Cowboys day. This is it. Come in here, be a part of the bomb squad. Come in here, call into the pulse of the nation, because we are the pulse of the nation. Get your entertainment, you get your quality, segments, your quality takes, and we hear from y'all. I mean, this is the show to start it off, man. And then after that, you just got basically a network of the community that drops banger after banger after banger. But that's where it all starts, man. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this button and see y'all Negans later. You can't miss that show if you don't know about the Negan. State of the unit safeties. That's a wrap. We made it through. Who would have thought? Not me. We got 3 safeties. Really like 4 or 5. Never would have thought that, man. I'm out of here. Love y'all. Peace. Shout out to the Mod Squad.